So what the heck is weaponized incompetence? We're going to break it down in this video. Hey there, I'm Dr. Melissa. I am a trauma expert and top doctor, and in this video and on this channel, I help you identify the hidden narcissists in your life so that you can then turn that trauma into gold, becoming stronger and more powerful than ever before, so that you can become anti-fragile. If that sounds like exactly what you need, click subscribe, click that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. So weaponized incompetence is something that's getting a lot of women hot under the collar right now. Weaponized incompetence is when a narcissist or another toxic person does something so incompetently that they're never asked to do it again. And they do this on purpose. It's totally a game. It's a strategy predominantly used by men at home, often used by women in the workplace, but it can be used by anyone, anywhere. So what exactly is it? Weaponized incompetence is intentionally doing a task poorly. Why would anyone do this? Well, they do it for one of two reasons. First is to avoid being asked to do the task again. It's a method of laziness, of getting out of additional work, of making it so much bother to have that person do it that you'd rather just do it yourself than ask them to do something so poorly again. The second reason that they do it is to put you in a continued place of devaluation. Now remember, a narcissist is going to devalue you. If they are a covert narcissist, they're going to do this in a very sneaky, subtle, insidious kind of way so that you don't really know that that's what's happening. But they're always looking to devalue you as a way of creating power and control and narcissistic supply for them. So let's go through some examples first, and then we'll come back to why someone would do this. So let's talk about where men use weaponized incompetence. Men tend to use it at home. Why? Because in the workplace, they want to be seen as very competent, as superior. They want to be considered for promotions or bigger roles within their company. They want to be seen as the go-to person who has all the answers. They want to look very competent at work or in the business world. At home, it's a totally different story. A narcissist or other toxic man who's using this technique at home is wishing to, one, be lazy and get out of doing the work, and two, is looking for ways to devalue his partner. So say, for example, your husband loads the dishwasher in like the stupidest possible way, bowls on the upper rack facing upright in a way that they can't possibly get washed, maybe things positioned in a way, that the sprayer can't get to things and can't get them clean, or that you can't get hardly any dishes in there because it's loaded so ridiculously that only half of like a normal amount would fit. When you see this and you're like, this is ridiculous. I have to wash all these dishes over again. We ran the dishwasher. These are all still dirty, or hardly any got in there, or whatever. You may choose to stop asking him to load the dishwasher and just take care of it yourself. It's less work to just take care of it yourself than to go through the hassle of dealing with it when it was done so poorly or so incompetently in the first place. Say your boyfriend goes to do your laundry and he doesn't separate your white clothes, from some brand new denim, new item of clothing that's going to bleed, and all of your whites end up pink or blue or some varied shade of purple or whatever. If that sort of thing happens often enough, you may decide it's far too much hassle and far too costly to be replacing clothes all the time, and you are just going to do the laundry yourself. Say your husband wants to take over the bill paying. he doesn't know where all of the household money is going. He thinks you must be doing a terrible job at this. He wants to take it over so that it's done correctly. But then he misses paying bills, and you now have late fees, or you have, dings to your credit, or, threats of your utilities being shut off or whatnot, because he's missed things, because he doesn't follow the procedures and the checklist that you have in place to make sure that everything gets paid on time. Or say you're over at a family function at his house, and his mom says to him, I want you to put on the calendar, we're doing Thanksgiving, and 5 on Thanksgiving, and he doesn't put it on the calendar. He doesn't remember to communicate it. Next thing you don't know what time you're supposed to go. You don't know if they're having it. You don't have any idea what's going on. People are frustrated. Maybe you've missed birthday parties, things that he's committed you and your family to, and you didn't know anything about them. They are not on the calendar. So very soon you decide to start asking everyone to just communicate with you regarding the calendar. Now, in a lot of ways, it seems like that's just simpler, but in reality, this was all designed on his part in the first place. I'm certain he can keep a calendar at work, follow procedures at work. This at home is specifically designed to, one, get out of having to do the work, let you take on all of those roles, wear all of those hats. It's the scheduler, the bill payer, the one doing the household work. And two, it's a way of devaluing you and your contribution. So for example, if you are always the one who's in charge of the calendar and he feels like his weekend is too busy, it's your fault because you scheduled too many things on the calendar. Or if he feels like it's too long between times when he's seen some couple friends that you two get together with, it's your fault because you're the one that set that on the calendar. Or if there's not as much money in the bank account at the end of the month as he'd hoped, it's your fault because you're the one who pays the bills. You can see how not only is it extreme laziness, but it feeds right into their using devaluing to gain narcissistic supply. It gives them something to always be upset or angry about. So women can absolutely use weaponized incompetence too, and they can use it at home like the men do, though it's less often seen there. Weaponized incompetence for women tends to be seen more at work, and it looks something like this. Say you have a coworker or an employee who just drops the ball on big tasks. The next time there's a big task that comes up, a big project, something that really has to be done and has to be done right, you are going to be less likely to ask that employee to do it and more likely to ask someone who's trustworthy, you can count on, the work is going to be done well, even if their plate is overflowing and this other person has nothing to do. Or say you have a coworker who has had to be retrained again and again and again. There are aspects of their job that they just don't seem to understand or remember how to do correctly. And they play this game of just not being sure. They need clarification. They want to be shown once again. And what they're doing really is getting the more competent person on the team to just jump in and take it over. And oftentimes the boss's expectation really is that that competent person does do that because they just want the job done. They don't really want to hear all of the stories around it. They just want the job done. And so the person using their weaponized incompetence, even though they've been trained 7 times, they don't know how to do this aspect of their job, is again being lazy, but they're also devaluing the competent person. And they're sort of triangulating to create this odd work dynamic with the boss, where the boss now is asking this other person to do it, even though it's not their job. The competent person is maybe miffed, and the incompetent person is just sitting there kind of observing the whole thing and gathering up lots of narcissistic supply. Another example in the workplace might be not getting cross-trained, whether it's cross-trained to do another job in the office, or whether it's being able to contribute in other ways, maybe doing some basic graphic design to make a flyer or that sort of thing. Someone who is not cross-trained can't be asked to do extra things. So they may sit and twiddle their thumbs waiting for something to do while someone else is more trained, more competent, more dedicated, who's running around and doing all of that work and growing resentful of the person who is not pulling their weight. If you've seen someone using weaponized incompetence in your life, type "caught you" in the comments, then share this video with someone who needs to see it. I invite you to join me in my free private Facebook group, Antifragile Narcissist Survivors. And most importantly, if you know that you want and need more support in rising above these toxic relationships in your life, join me at liveantifragile.com. I'm Dr. Melissa, and I'll see you in the next video.